Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Just Jump In live stream. It is show 100, so we're going to do a little something different here. But first of all, let me see who's jumped in early and let me know if you can hear me as well. So we have John from Schuylkill River Valley. He showed up early to to say congratulations, and he wasn't able to stay on for the show, but wanted to make sure he stopped in. And so I really appreciate that, John, and I let him know as well before he jumped off. And so he gets the virtual cookie on show 100. And then we had Bill stop in. Welcome, Bill. Nice to see you in here. And then Mom, hi, welcome. And if you're out there and you're even lurking in the background working on something, just make sure you drop a hello so we know you're around. And Brad from Willow Creek, welcome in. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, and Mom, I hope most of all you appreciate this. This is my party planning. So the show tonight's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do much more of a retrospective. I didn't do a whole lot of, thank you, Bill, for confirming the sound is good. I didn't do a whole lot of model railroading this week. I did one thing, so I'll show you that. But I wanted to go back and kind of take a look at the shows we've had and just share that. And then I had one other item. Gopher Girl, welcome in. So one of the things I was going to talk about were the number of unfinished projects that I have on here, have done on here. And so one of them is this, and I wanted to show that I got the walls together. I got the roof on for the front of the diner, and then the kitchen roof on as well. And so it's looking pretty darn good. I have some details, some signs that'll go up here that need to be added, but this is probably one of the closest to being finished. So thank you for the happy 100, and that's with your help that we got there for sure. Breathed in a little glue. I lost some of the windows in here, so I got to put those back in, but that's okay. That's why it's fine with the bottom. I was going to put some lighting up in here as well. But those are big windows, so it kind of needs an interior if I'm going to do lighting. So we'll see. If I do lighting, the other thing I'll probably do is paint this and paint it black on the inside. And then we'll see if there's anything else that we do with that. And then I got to find this piece popped off. I got to find that. So that was the extent of the model railroading, really. The one other thing for our for those folks who like 3D printing, like I do. Okay. Let's see. Can I get okay? The recent updates with the availability of filament. Bamboo Lab signed a deal with both Best Buy and Target to carry their filament. Target carries their basic line of filament. Bamboo, Best Buy, I think, carries a few other pieces of their line. Best Buy also has their own in-house brand that they've introduced to keep prices low and get that out to people. So at some point, I'm going to try theirs. As we know, Hobby Lobby had gotten into the market with cheaper filament. The filament again, but like I said, Best Buy and Target are carrying the actual bamboo filament. But we know Hobby Lobby got into it. Well, I just found out, and maybe I'm late to the party, but I just found out that Michaels, which I enjoy shopping at, also carries filament. So I went out and grabbed theirs. And the big question with these in these store brands, or what they call white label, is what are they most like? What factories did they come from in China? So the make market ones appear like from how they're from their the wheel here. What do you call it? It looks like this is Creality. So, and that's what most people are speculating. So it would be like a cheaper version of Creality. So it should be decent. But again, you are paying cheaper. The thing I like about Michaels over Hobby Lobby are the constant discounts that they give. So this was $14.99, which is on the cheaper end for filament overall. And it was and currently they're running a 30% off a regular priced item. So this came out to $10.49. So a really good price. And so if that's the case and their filament is good, I'm gonna go ahead and probably be shopping at Michaels just because of the discounts I get. Plus, I shop there enough that I actually get a little money back, and so that can be applied at checkout. So anyway, so I went and got that. I haven't tried it yet. I'm printing a project for Gopher Girl. So hey Bob, welcome in. We're celebrating show 100. If you didn't notice from the thumbnail, just giving a quick update on what little I've done this week, and talking about filament, the cheaper filament that you can now get in stores because Target and Best Buy signed a deal with Bamboo to have their filament there. Best Buy also has a white label brand, and Michaels just entered the market to compete with Hobby Lobby and has their Make Market brand, and these are at $14.99. They had these glitter. I saw one review. They have like a glitter version of white. They have their basic white. They have matte white. They have black. They have red. They have some very basic colors. Really, I would stick for model railroading. I stick with gray or white because I'm going to paint them. Anyway, so have yet to try this, but I'm sure I will. We just got it's not an Amazon brand. It's a brand. What's the name of it? We just got one roll for this print that I'm doing for Gopher Girl because it was a desert tan color, so it was a specific color, and it's one that actually uses is designed to mimic bamboo, but be a little cheaper. And yeah, you get them through Amazon or directly from their website, and they are but they advertise the only thing it didn't have, which is unfortunate, is an RFID tag like the bamboo ones do. That would be nice to have, but everything else is very, they admit on their website that they're bamboo compatible and that sort of thing. So I'm doing a print. It's a long print. It's a multicolor print. This is like a 3-hour print. It's got about an hour and 45 minutes left. So I don't think we'll see it on this stream, but so if you're buying in bulk, it's definitely cheaper online if you're buying in bulk. One of the things you usually get away with is if you're not buying directly through Amazon. So if you go through like Elegoo or any of the other companies, you still may get charged shipping because they're shipping overseas or whatever. But the prices go down as you buy 6, 10, 20. The prices go down. So you'll make a better deal. I don't print enough at this point to warrant buying that. Dwight, welcome in, Dwight. There is store called Micro Center. It's not everywhere, Micro Center, but it's kind of like Radio Shack on steroids, with what they have. And it's not just parts and things like that. So they have a whole maker area, and they have a deal with bamboo now as well. It took a long time for them to get that deal. They were just selling, and they were selling different brands, including bamboo machines. But now they started to get parts. Now they're going to have filament. They mainly fill the shelves with their own filament or Polymaker, and Polymaker filament's much more expensive. Everybody likes it, but so it's probably worth it to spend more on the Polymaker. But they have their own brand, their own white label, which is Inland, and that's always good. I've never had problems with their filament. And they have sales on that. So I just got 4 rolls of gray. They were selling them for basically a $9.99 a roll or something like that for their basic filament, basic PLA. And so when they have sales, people go and they do buy in bulk there as well. So ultimately, if I was buying bulk, if I was buying 10 at a time or 6 at a time, I would go with any of the online deals right directly from the manufacturers, because those are usually better because they really knock off the price quite a bit. And there are all kinds of manufacturers out there. It's not just the major manufacturers like an Elegoo or a Bamboo or somebody like that. There's lots of other brands out there. It's kind of like going to Amazon and try different filaments. And you may like them. But what I like about this is I can go to the store and get it. I don't have to wait a day or 2 or 3 or 5, or if you're getting it from the manufacturer, maybe, and it's overseas, it could be 10 days before you get it. I just, and most of the direct from manufacturers, if they're overseas, they have a requirement that you have to buy at least 3, 5, or 6 at a minimum for their deals. They won't ship one over. So all in all, still, if you're spending $14.99, plus tax, it was, so 15, it was almost $17 with tax and all that. It's still, to me, it's a good deal. And to be able to pick it up locally is a good deal for me. So it works for me. If the filament's good, it works for me. So, but if I was like I said, if I was a major maker and I was selling my prints and I had a business and I had a print farm, I would be buying in bulk, and I would probably be making deals or doing something with manufacturers. But anyway, so at some point I'll give an update. I can't imagine. I mean, they're the most I actually have had trouble with as far as filament. And granted, I started out with bamboo filament when I knew nothing about it and started on it. But even as I got to know it, I still had some problems with the bamboo filament. I haven't had that problem with other brands, and I haven't had any major problems. And when I did, and I figured out it was settings that I didn't have correct, or, or maybe I had a PET G that wasn't dry enough, that sort of thing. But I've really kind of figured those things out, and I just don't have a lot of failed prints anymore. And I tend to like matte, and sometimes the matte are more expensive than the basic. But any at Michael's, they're not. They're $14.99 for basic colors in matte format if they offer them. So they have white in matte and they have white in basic, and they're both $14.99. So that being said, we'll find out at some point, and I'll be able to report on that. So yeah, there are a lot of manufacturers that have US based operations too, where you actually, if you go on their website, you can pick Asia, you can pick UK, you can pick US in those cases, so they ship more locally, and you don't have maybe the tariffs and things like that to deal with, and delays and stuff like that. So you want to make sure when you're looking, that if they have a US option, you want to try that. But sometimes I've seen where they have certain colors, for instance, that they may be out of in the US, then you have to look in from the UK store, or their Asia store, or whatever. But yeah, so it's a you definitely can get them domestically. Some of the true domestic brands that actually state that they are only in the US, they tend to be more expensive than the Elegoo's and the other ones that have US based operations and overseas operations. Basic is shinier than matte. Matte is just like in painting anything. Matte is just a flat color. I don't know if it'll show because it's in plastic really well. So it doesn't show very well on here. But when it prints out, it's gonna sometimes you can see it on the filament that's a little bit shiny, but oftentimes, especially with a light color like this, you might not see it as much, but it won't reflect light the same way if it's matte. Basic doesn't have that. Basic is going to be shinier. So that's the real difference. And so I don't know if companies think matte filament is specialized, or they think or maybe there's extra processing of the plastic. I don't know on that end, but a lot of times matte filament is more expensive. So yeah, like a semi-gloss, that's correct. It's not terrible, and PLA, any of the plastics are paintable too, so you can get rid of that if you need to. You can spray them and get rid of that. So yeah, that's a lot closer in price between the two, and I think people are savvy enough to look for what they want, and I think for a lot of people it's comfort level. It's not even price anymore. I think it's comfort level. There are a lot of people that will pay more, and if they have less failed prints with a specific filament, like I've gotten better at the whole thing, but I don't go back to bamboo filament because they have a price point of $19.99 for their basic colors or matte colors. For refills, or if you get it with the spool, that's the word I was looking for earlier. It's like it's $22.99. So it's not a price point I like at Target. So I'm not going to buy from Target, even though it's really convenient. It's like I'm there almost every day buying stuff. But I'll go to Michael's over that because it's $15 versus $23, and I know I'm going to get good prints out of it, or I'm likely to get good prints out of it anyway. So that was kind of this week. But I wanted to kind of do a retrospective. So you'll have to bear with me, and on this, I'm going to do some clips and some things and talk about some of the episodes. So let me see if I can pull this up. So one of the things, you usually just see my hands and everything. So I wanted to play just a couple minutes of one. I did like 2 or 3 test streams. And so I wanted to throw that out there for fun and show you that. So let me pull that up for you. And Bob Bamboo's getting a lot of flack because they really do want to close in their operations, and they want their own universe, and it was started as a open source, and so there's a lot of back and forth about that going on right now. Let's see. So this was me testing things out and seeing back when I was on Streamer and I was just starting out. Let's share this and just have a go at this and see. This is an unlisted test stream, testing video, mic, lighting, pretty washed out there. Shadow as well. Better with the lighting now. Let's see here. Kind of better. Background I have on here is not very good. Need kind of a green screen for this. This would be overlay, countdown, and focus. And so that was the major test before I went live with the live stream. So you actually saw me on camera. I have this stage fright thing that happens, or if you ever heard of fight or flight, I have this flight thing that happens, and I just don't do well, on stage. And so I've built this up as just being behind the scenes. But that was me testing it out at the time. You had that green going on. I don't know why I was using that color. I might not have known how to change colors or anything like that. But that was a first for me in testing things out. And as you know, no matter how much testing I did all throughout, I've had issues, whether it was audio or video at times, and I know we all do. So Yeah, Dwight, you and me with the hands. The hands are always in the video. Uh, although I don't have a layout right now to show, and you do, so at least we can see you sometimes walking around working on the layout and everything. I wish I had a layout to show, have some trains running in the background, but I don't have that at this time. So where is that? So funny thing about and this question is for Gopher Girl can't answer this question, but finally episode 1 came along, and on episode 1, to me it was maybe like a test or something, but I had stuff on the let's see what's going on. I don't know what I wanted to do there. So I had stuff on. Let's see here. Give me a sec. I am having an issue. I'm going to be right back with you. Let's see. So I don't know. I'm having an issue again with the camera. I don't know what happened there, but it looks like it's frozen. So let me know I'm going to do an audio check if you can tell me if you can hear me, because something went awry as we're Grandpa Rails, welcome in as I went through this. So let me see. I'm going to mess with my camera again one more time here. Although this looks like it there we go. That was my problem. All right. So that was me doing something on Restream. That was not the computer. I did update the settings, and last stream we didn't white out. So so thank you, Grandpa Rels, JD. Anyway, so the first stream I went live, and I was not the first person to speak on the live stream, and I'm wondering if anybody but Gopher Girl knows who the first person was to speak. That is not what I want. What the heck was that? So, here we go. So after a couple tests, I finally went live. I didn't have a thumbnail or anything. I was just going live. I didn't have a following, obviously. And you could hear in the background, rain, and that was it. And then I had stuff on the desk. But let's go see who was the first to speak. Don't give any hints, Gopher Girl. Rude. So we're going to share screen again. Let's see. Share. And then all right. And we're going to play it. So the first person to speak was Kaya, our dog Kaya. So I wasn't even the first person to speak. And then Gopher Girl got the honor of being the second one as she was yelling at Kaya. And what was interesting is I was broadcasting from upstairs, through doorways, through everything. And I was shocked that you could hear on the audio that you could hear the dogs. You guys haven't heard them much. Every once in a while you have. But that was sad to say I was not the first person to speak. And yes, you're right. Kaya is not a person, although you treat her like she is. She eats better than I do. And so my first words came 4 minutes and 25 seconds into that show. So right after basically the barking went on, I finally started talking on that first show. So that show was like 35 minutes long. It was kind of like a test, I guess. I didn't have a following yet. But one of the things to note is who was the first commenter ever. And I don't think most of you will be surprised at who it was. But it's somebody who I haven't seen in a while, so I don't know where they're at this point. Yeah, too technical for me for sure. But yeah, she is treated more like a goddess than she is treated like even a person. So, but the first person to comment on the show, the first person to comment to me on the live stream is, most of you'll know, is Derailed. Well, most of you'll know him, but it's Derailed Daryl. He had said, "Hi, Dan." He gave me a wave. He confirmed that he could hear me loud and clear. He told me he remembered his first stream, and he just said, "Just do your thing." So he was the one to get me started. That was the first feedback I ever got. So then, just looking back, if we skipped ahead to like show 25, so like, several months later, it was a bit more professional. It had a start screen. Many of you will remember the super long countdown that wasn't actually in seconds. It took 1:05 to get through that countdown of a 30-second clock. I just really liked the numbers. And I added some screens to it on the end to lead into it. I really liked it, but the music was so annoying, and I couldn't figure out at the time how to replace the music on it. So eventually got rid of that, and it didn't matter because we moved to Restream, and I have to use what I can here. But it was definitely more professional. I started to take time to say hello to everybody and check in with everybody, where I was originally just giving straight comments and things like that. you were definitely seeing the top down view. That's what I was using and continue to use today, so you could see the projects that I'm working on, and did a lot more interaction. Um, so yeah, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Eileen. It wasn't. She was telling me that when I talked to her the other weekend, that she didn't come on until much later on. So, but that was interesting. And so, JD, how is Derail Daryl doing? Like I said, I haven't heard from him in a long time. I haven't seen him on any of the live streams, and maybe I've just missed him because I don't get onto every live stream because I am working stiff. But just wonder how he's doing. He's one of the most cheerful people in the model railroading community that I've ever gotten to know, and unfortunately not close enough. But so I don't like when I don't see him around. But he was also working for, and so he might not be able to be around. If you were with us for show 50, we did a video montage, which I'll have tonight as well for the next 50 shows, but for the first 50 shows, did a little video montage during that time. Continuing to deal with audio issues live at that time. I remember that. You really started to see my hands at that point as I was working on stuff. And you also started to have an inkling of other modeling interests that other than just model railroading. And I was really starting to understand that I liked the modeling aspect, and that was the tank that I built. So that, and then we moving on, and I was really trying to be more professional again, and around show 75, that was the first show without a number in the title, because the YouTube guru said, don't serialize these things in the title and you'll get 1 million viewers and 1 million followers. And I've got a few. I've got, 830 somewhere in there, or I forget what my number is. But not 1 million. So I go back and forth with the advice that you get. We're very niche, and so we have some very successful people. We have monetized people. We have people with thousands, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 viewers or subscribers, things like that. I'm certainly not there yet, but hope to get there. Hope to be able to share the hobby with more people. Also, by this time, we moved to Restream because I still can't get my head around OBS and really setting that up to work with, as well as StreamYard or Restream and some of the others work. And as you now all get to see, we have a countdown clock that has a natural high associated with it. So that's a short history of where we came along. To the other thing that I promised is I would do a giveaway tonight, and so we're going to get into that soon. So yeah, OBS can be a beast. And it's just getting comfortable with all of that setup, because what StreamYard, Restream, all of these, some of the other ones, one of them, it's not, I don't know, I can't remember the two others that I was trying. They're all based on the OBS type setup, but they have this user interface that they've produced that on some of them that are just more user friendly than OBS is, where OBS is like the bare bones, and you just have to have everything set up the right way for it to work the right way, and that sort of thing. So I'd ask people for different retailers, and I was a little bit selfish on who I wanted to do a giveaway from, and I really wanted to do a giveaway from Lombard Hobbies. And they were going through this week a website revamp, and because they're an online business and a store, their store, their brick and mortar store, everything, their POS system there and everything they do there is really tied into the website and the monetary system on the website and everything. And it looks like they hit some kind of road bump, because the last email I got from them said, I think the reopen is the 27th. So that's a pretty big thing. Like they had to like start over. I don't know. So with whatever happened, I wasn't able to, because I didn't get it before the gift certificate. I didn't get beforehand. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. So at this point, I went with Midwest Model Railroad, which is a St. Louis store, I believe. St. Louis-ish. But very good store, good prices, good service, and has lots and lots of merchandise there. And their mail order does very well. So I got a couple of gift certificates for them. And so we'll do a giveaway today or tonight here, and then go through some couple other memories I have and a couple other things to talk about from the first 100 shows. Hopefully it is just the first 100 shows. So what I would like you to do is, while I'm going through stuff over the next couple minutes, is I want you to throw a hashtag and the number 100 into the chat if you want to participate and have a chance at a gift certificate from Midwest Model Railroad. So what I want to see is that, and we'll take names down for those who want to participate, and we'll get a wheel up and we'll do a giveaway. And so you can go for it now. And like I said, over the next couple minutes, I'll look out for those, and then we'll do some setup on that and do a giveaway. So the other thing, as you can see here, I have a sign. I always have a sign when we start. It's, I guess you call it low rent, but it was one of the things I was trying to print, because I was trying to learn 3D printing. So it was a good idea to have, since I don't have a personalized splash screen or anything when the live stream comes up. I thought I was always brand it with, the Just Jump In hashtag. And that started when I wanted to do a sign like that, but in 2 colors, to try the multicolor printing. But this wasn't the first sign, as many of you know. So let's see here. Let me pull this over, and I'm going to share with you. And I'm guessing not everybody's going to remember this, but the first sign in my attempts to do a multicolored printing was black and white. And this was the first sign I used. And this showed up in episode 30. So I was really thinking about branding by then and being, again, more professional. And so this black and white sign showed up. And I don't know if there were any, I don't know if it was 4 shows later, 3 or 4 shows later, that I just didn't like this one. I didn't love this. It didn't stay together, and I had to I had to actually glue this back together. So by show 33, so a couple weeks later, 3-4 weeks later, I expanded my abilities with printing and had other colors, and we came up with this one. And this is not the current one, but this was the second sign that I had. And I wanted a placard or a shield or something like that. That's why I didn't like the first one. And that one stayed around for a while, but it disappeared. And it disappeared about 13 or so weeks later, or give or take any shows that were missed, any weeks that were missed. So what, three and a half months later, it went missing. And there's nobody but me in this room ever, so there were no culprits. It just went missing. It was probably right in front of me or something. Finally, I don't so in show 64, a new sign appeared, a bigger and better one. It's the same look, but a much better printed one. And these are bad stills. But this was so this was the original. This was the second one. I can't tell you where the first one is. I don't know if I trashed it, but it was the printing. You can't see it as well on the camera, but the printing was much worse. It was smaller. But I went in and created that one, and now that one has bows and fun stuff on it. Yeah, the sign is my thing. So I want the hashtag to be my thing, but you can't really bogart a hashtag. But it's what got me, this mantra is what got me going in the hobby. I was just the sideliner, and this is what got me going. So that's where we're at, and we'll have to look at some other ways to brand ourselves if we get to the point where we can pay for service, then, or if I can get a handle on OBS, then I can really brand my own stuff. And that would be the goal, is to be able to do that. So I appreciate that. Thank you for those who have opted in. I'll keep going for a little bit to see if we can get some other people to opt in for the giveaway. So I started to think about as well, was there, and what brought it to my mind as I was thinking about stuff for the show, was the diner. The diner wasn't finished. And I started to think about how many things are unfinished. And then I realized there's a bunch that are finished. So for instance, the main thing that I really wanted to build and kind of, and the AP program stuff. So that New Brunswick station hasn't moved off its second version yet. The cab car, I got it to an end, and I had it evaluated, and it scored poorly. At the same time, I had the nice flat car evaluated and did really well. And so there's lots I can improve on that. I also want to motorize it. I bought a decoder that was not motorized. So I would rather make that one of my motorized, one of my motive power vehicles for the requirements for motive power. So that's not done. All of the passenger cars aren't done. They're in various states of doneness. And I have a bunch of other projects that are not done. The Campbell kit that I got started, which was more of a distraction anyway. I stopped working on that because I got myself back to working on some of the stuff that matters for the AP program. There's the car I'm dedicating to my grandfather, the business car I'm turning into a private car. That's not finished. It's close, but it's not quite finished. So those are the things. And then I started to think about, well, there are some things I really did finish. There's the tank, as we talked about earlier, the abandoned depot. That was a Blair line kit. The taco truck, which was from Intermountain Hobbies. I finished that one. The Stuff Your Face building, which was from Mind Mount Models. The basic office I did that I dedicated early on to my brother as a printing company from ITLA, and then the art cafe from Bearline. That's another one that got finished. So I thought I had more not done than I had done, and I think there's a good mix on there. So let's see here. So I'm going to throw out a last call on the first gift certificate for Midwest Model Railroad. And the other thing was, during this journey, I had gotten a 3D printer, and I thought it was way later on, but it was actually 3D printing entered in early on. By show 8, I was talking to you about the fuel tank that I was creating out of a tank car, and where I created the stands and the underbody. And at the time, I didn't have the Bamboo Lab printer, and it was just learning to print. I was learning Onshape as my 3D CAD tool, and I had a family member friend printing. It wasn't until show 25 that I had a printer. So about 4 months later, I finally was able to invest in the printer, and really kind of got started. If you remember, I one of the many prints that I did was this, and this is a tunnel that I'm creating for the Northeast Corridor from New Jersey to New York City, when it goes underground in New York City. So I created this. Is a big deal that I was able to create this, and I'll be able to create multiples and glue them together. Did the Just Jump In? So did the Just Jump In impetus come before or after the AP realization or push? The Just Jump In impetus came back in 2009, I want to say. When I was going to the hobby shop, and I really was interested in model trains, and I would look around and I would just search around for hours, as Gopher Girl will tell you. She hates shoe shopping with me. I was always like shoe shopping. I would go to the hobby shop, and this was before I knew all of the hobby shops we had at the time. This one was more like a toy store than a hobby shop, but it had a rack of magazines, and I'd always gravitate there. I was so afraid to drop a bunch of money on model railroad stuff, and I feel like I didn't know about it. So I would end up no more than buying a magazine, but I would buy um, uh, a model railroader magazine, for instance, and I have a couple from 2010 that I still have. So that's the right timing from that time there that I got that. And I had a subscription at one point, not for long, maybe a year or something. But anyway, um, so I had built prior to that, I had done some things. So I should say that where we were in a smaller apartment and I had built a 4 by 4 foot table, and I had bought an Atlas magazine or a couple, not magazine, a booklet or a book on all about wiring and track plans. And I picked out a track plan that would fit on the 4 by 4 table. I got the track, and this was N scale, but I finally got the track down at some point. I got it wired up. I played with it a little bit. I had a DC locomotive at the time with a set of cars, a Santa Fe set. And yeah, I kind of did stuff with it, but not a whole lot. I really wasn't diving in. We moved to a bigger place, and I went through all the trouble of building the bench work and a table made of a hollow core door, a 30 by 80 hollow core door. And I wasn't getting the track down, and I wasn't doing any scenery, and I wasn't doing any of that. And finally, I got so mad at myself, and I said, I just got to jump in. And I took a scissors to a corner of Woodland Scenics ground foam, and I just dumped. And I said, don't worry about the fact that it costs money. Just dump it out, and we'll just make it happen, and it'll just it's there to be used. And I dumped it out, and it was glued down. It made no sense or anything. I finally got tracked down on there. At that time, I spent more money anyway. That finally opened the door, and I started to do scenery on the layout. And I then put track down and tried to figure out what I wanted to do with that. And I had the Atlas track, but I ended up going with, as I learned more about the N scale and everything, I went with Cato track because it was supposed to be foolproof and everything. And then I struggled with that, and didn't have a real track plan. So eventually I was just like, look, I'm working on scenery. I might as well just plop down the track. And I plopped down in long oval with one spur going completely the wrong way. So the engine would have to go in first every time. It was just really bad now that I understand that stuff. And it had one passing tracks or one, so that I could kind of build a station for the train to go off the main line. But that was telling myself to being so frustrated and telling myself to jump in, and then taking the scissors to that bag was what opened it up for me. And then I built out that layout. I never changed the track, but I did all the scenery, had some intricate scenery to it, which I do have videos on. You can see it completely. Also, you can see some videos that I have that have different sections. But my golden spike entry, you can see the whole thing because I was using that. So you should definitely can see it. But that was the impetus for just jump in, and then joining the NMRA, getting to know my local chapter, the Twin Cities division, and everything. The hashtag piece. This was me trying to promote the hobby, trying to promote, just trying it out. So that's where that's the long story for that. So again, one more call. Does anybody else want a chance at a Midwest Model Railroad gift certificate? If so, type in hashtag 100 in the chat, and then we'll have a go at that. So, where did it go? So some of the other semi-interesting things, both out of analytics and what few analytics I have through YouTube, and from what I've noticed, some of the locations, and granted not all, but some of the locations of folks tuning into the show, which really impressed me, are Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, the United States. I think at one point I did see somebody from India who had tuned in at one point. Didn't list them on there, but it's definitely, obviously it's US based for the most part, but definitely has a reach. Timing is everything. This isn't a great time for some of the places like the UK because it's early in the morning there at this point. But I do have a steady stream of followers who actually watch the live streams on replay, which is really nice, and I get some great comments from them and some participation from them that we don't see in the chat here because they're sleeping and all. So the other one is something that's tracked is what is the stream translated into, or is closed captioning being used? And so you can imagine the one that's most closed captioned or translated into, well, not translated, but most closed caption one would be English. But we have also had it translated into Dutch or Japanese, Spanish, and even Thai. So that's really cool too. Really cool to know that I'm reaching a crowd like that. So, all right. So as we're moving on here, I'm going to go set this up. So bear with me for a moment. All right. So all right. So we've got a few people wanting to jump in. All right. Oh, and JD as well. All right. Get you on there as well. And then get this shared with you. So let's get this. So StreamYard has something like this built in. I'm using a company or a person who's put this together that's called Stream Juice, and it has a couple of basically apps on it that you can use or tools for engagement. So we're going to share this. It would help if we did that. Let's see if we can get this to. You have to. I have to apologize. My mouse is just terrible. But we have. Oh my goodness. All right. Bear with me for just a second. that was like which kit is it? I think it's the it was the Intermountain kit. When I was opening that up, it was wrapped, but it was wrapped open so you could see the contents, but it didn't look like there were instructions. I then pried apart the top and the bottom of the box, and the instructions were in the bottom of the box. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's try this. Okay, so we have Bill, Dwight, Jimmy, and JD who all wanted to participate. And so we will give that a shuffle and shuffle that around. And we'll go ahead and just do the old spin the wheel and see who can come up with the win. And it looks like Dwight Curly Express. Congratulations. So I will get you the code, and I'll connect with you on that. And so congratulations, and you'll be able to, at the very least, it'll take care of shipping and taxes. It should take care of on your next order. So so just a little bit of appreciation from me, and for supporting the channel and supporting what I do. And if you all hang out in just a little bit, I'm going to do another giveaway. Again, it'll be the same thing. It's a $15 gift certificate to Midwest Model Railroad, a place I bought from many times, and I've never had a problem with them. And you know, with shipping has been fast, and you know, they get the order in, they're able to fulfill it. So good job. Then let me pull up one other thing here. And again, I appreciate you all sticking around and letting me indulge myself in the memories. The only other thing I wanted to bring up, I think, from a memory standpoint, which is much more recent, back in show 91, I had worked on and introduced a secondary logo, and I got 3 or 4 comments, and they were all pretty negative comments as to why I would need one, that they didn't really like it that much. And that's a pretty big following. You know, that's about a third of the shows that the third of the people, or no, I'm sorry, about a quarter of the people that show up to the shows did comment on it. I happen to like it, and I'm still going to use it for things. So, but it was of note. Okay. Bear with me for a second. My computer is doing some weird stuff right now. Don't do this to me. We had such a good show so far. But that was very weird. We had such a good show so far. Yeah, I've seen some videos where people have gone in back while they're working, and all of these stores that have online presence kind of let you roam the store while they're working. One of the things I like about Lombard Hobbies was that they check on you to make sure you're okay, ask you if you need help with anything. At one point, they were all working on their online orders. They had them all lined up all around the store, and everyone was working on stuff, and I was straining over a countertop to see something on a back wall. And they're like, "Why don't you just go back there?" And I'm like, back into behind the counters and stuff. That was shocking to me. And they've just always been very nice there. The other sneaky thing that they do, and I just happened upon this because the guy asked if I had an account because I had bought online from them. I said I had an account and that I'm from out of state, that I come once a year. And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, we can get the taxes off." So I got the city taxes off. It's like 10% off. So I just paid for the merchandise, no taxes. So that was a really nice thing as well. I had the opposite type of experience going to Yankee Dabbler in New Jersey, and I've been there twice. You walk in, and it's packed in there. It's hard to move around. It wasn't really designed as a store to walk through. Um, and um, so the other thing is they had 5 or 6 guys on both occasions. Just they're everything. They're all far away. They weren't a couple times around on the floor, and they were zipping around and trying to get around me because there wasn't a lot of room to move. And my mom, who's like 5 foot nothing, couldn't even move through the store. It was so packed that way. Um, and they didn't. Not one of them asked me if, as I'm just walking around, asked me if I needed help with anything, or could I find something, how did I need help finding something or anything. They didn't acknowledge my presence there. And that really annoyed me. It's like, why have that? Um, the advantage, though, of having a store like that is you could order online and skip the shipping, obviously, if you live in the area. And I know, definitely, um, uh, Bill, it's probably not too far from you. And there's some other folks down at that area that are on YouTube that it's really close to, that they go and they'll order something and pick it up and skip the shipping and things like that. But I just didn't have that same experience that I had at Lombard Hobby, so it's not my favorite. Although for what's in stock, Yankee Dabbler has pretty good prices, better than the other places. Midwest Model Railroad, I've known longer, and I've because of um, a Modeler's Life podcast. That's how I got introduced to them back in the day. And so I've ordered from them, and I know them, and I know their prices. I know have been good, and that they've had a lot of in-stock stuff, and their service has always been good. So I like them too. So I'm glad I'm at least doing them. Yeah, Dwight. So originally I was going to do Lombard Hobbies because I like them so much. But they were supposed to be done with the website changeover yesterday. But they sent out an email saying that they're still working on it, and it's not going to be up and running until the 27th. With that, also their store is down because, like I said, their store is also tied into, so their POS system's completely tied into the mail order piece of it. So that's down too. So they can't even sell in the store right now. Yep, definitely. So you still have a shipping charge, I guess, Bill. If you're having to go over the bridge. So yeah, so So my mom's probably about 35 minutes north of there, and my aunt and the rest, and my cousin, the whole core of my New Jersey family are all not too far away on the other side of the river from Philadelphia. And I have one of my best friends is in is it Langhorne? It's right over the bridge. So he actually works for the Boy Scouts, and he works through a whole bunch of areas in New Jersey, actually. But yeah, Train World was, for me, the prices were the difference. You could find those prices that Train World charges cheaper other places like Yankee Dabbler. So that's the only reason I haven't, and because my mom, after my dad died, moved more south, I haven't been up to see Train World since I've moved out to the Midwest. And Iron Planet Hobbies I've ordered from before. Heath from Human City has a discount there. He has a discount code, HUMAN, that you can get 10% off. So it's a no-brainer to order from them to get, so let's see here. So I'm going to So I've got another one to give away. So I'm going to do 100 more. And Dwight, unfortunately, you are disqualified from the second one because you won the first one. But I'm going to do, if you could do hashtag 100 more, we're going to do one more giveaway to close out this retrospective show. And so throw it in there if you want to participate. And we can do that. So I'm so talking about while we do that, talking about unfinished projects. So I still, there are two of them here that you can see here. So I recently did some updates on this. I think I updated everyone that I fixed the placement of the trucks, because you can see how far forward this one is compared to this one. So I fixed that. I also made the bolster bigger on there as well. And then there was a spot on here, on the edge here, where these connectors, which are virtual connectors, let's see, you can see it here. It's on this one where one of the three went missing, or just missing from the program, or I missed it somehow. I fixed that. So I can get ready to do a final print on this. And this one has 3 prints. It has the sides all the way around. It has the floor, and I'll do 2 floors instead of just this one, because I'll put weights between them. And then the bottom. So this piece right here will be printed. If I didn't print them separately, the failure rate has the potential to go up. By printing multiple prints, you reduce each print can finish, and then move on from there. So then here are kind of the passenger car 3D printed bodies that I've printed a million times. I'm still working on the 3D printed coil car. You can see multiple versions. Here's talking about printing. Here are the test prints as I'm trying to fix. You can see I added this little extra piece on here. You can see other versions of it here. I like to do test prints and not waste all the film. Here's what it was. So I don't want to waste all the filament, so I'm not printing out everything like these. I printed out in full. Instead, I'm printing out partials for that. Here's an underbody that I'm trying to do for the passenger cars, where I'm actually printing the full underbody instead of using the shells. And here's a number of print attempts. I still haven't completely figured that one out to make it accurate. This is one of the shells of, see, here's an early half shell of the passenger car. This is the one of the engines that I'm working on 3D printing. So I had that Mark version, but I also just recently got this. We talked about that last time. So this is me doing a 3D printed version and working that out. And then this one's a completely scratch built one. Well, that's scratch built too, but it's I don't have an actual catenary maintenance vehicle, but this is the first pass of the catenary maintenance vehicle. This moves because this raises up, and I was trying to figure out how I can do that and do the shell. So all of these are, this is me talking about all the half done stuff I have, quarter done stuff. And there's lots more to go. Hey, Randy. You're just in time for, if you're interested, I have another $15 gift certificate and that I'm giving away from Midwest Model Railroad. So if you're interested while you're camping, throw in hashtag 100 more, and we're going to do another giveaway. Earlier, Dwight from Curly Express won the first one, and we're gonna give the second one away. So, but that's okay. You can watch this one. Randy was a little bit different. It was all reminiscing about the first 100 shows. So there's a very, very small update at the beginning of the show. But if you want to learn some interesting facts about the shows, maybe you remember some of them, maybe not, because I didn't remember them. I had to go researching. But we talked about the first show. I showed a test that I did before I went live, and lots more. So you'll enjoy it when you get home. But enjoy the camping. Hopefully it hasn't been too harsh with the both the heat and the smog and stuff. All right, so let's take a look here who we have. So okay, so all right. Let's see if we have any others. And want to give a shout out to Gopher Girl, my wife, who has been a huge help over these 100 shows. She's been the moderator, keeping you guys in check and also engaging with you guys. Maybe we can get her someday to show her Lego prowess. She just bought some shelving, so we're going to be able to display a whole bunch of stuff. We have stuff scattered throughout the house that she's built, and we're going to be able to have kind of a dedicated space for her to really display the stuff and get her building some more. And then it might display one or two of my things so I can get them out of my area. But all right, so we have JD, Jimmy, Bill, and Randy who have all wanting to jump in. And let's bring up the wheel. Let's get this up. And let's give you a full screen, get my little, I'm so proud of my little sign and with all the bedazzle on top of it. But let's get to the real thing. What you all want to do is win yourself some money for the hobby shop. So let's shuffle this up and we'll give it a spin and we'll see who wins the other one. And who is it going to be? It's going to be JD is the winner. Grandpa Rails, if you can go ahead and just email me, I will email you the code back. Same with you. Well, I should have your, Dwight, I should have your email address so I can get the code out to you. JD, if you can email me at Shauna Dan, SHAUNADAN 94. Come, put that in the chat. If you can email me there, I will get you out the code so that you can use it. It's $15 for each of you. So that again will pay for your shipping and your taxes. So it'll give you some relief and you can spend your money on the actual models that you buy or the supplies that you buy from Midwest Model Railroad. And so with that, yep, that's right. She is a gamer. You're correct. She's a night person and I'm not. I'm a sleepy person at night. She is she'll game all night and come to bed when I'm getting up for work. So but with that, I want to thank you all for hanging out and watching and contributing to a different kind of show. And let me self-indulge a little bit. And here is to 100 more shows. That's right. That's right. She was the culprit, wasn't she, for slowing down the stream? So again, so thanks to everyone, and want everyone be safe out there with the heat and the wildfire stuff is moving out eastward from us, and so try to stay indoors when it's really extreme. And just be careful out there and just enjoy the hobby and have a great weekend. Again, I appreciate everybody being so supportive and having my regulars here every week and joining me in and keeping me honest and keeping me going. And again, thank you so much and happy 100 to everybody and to 100 more. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.